Good evening and welcome to Laugh Monkey Music Show. Kevin Kenny. Kenny is from Sun Don't Shine, and well, we know him from Typo, but the new band is really cool. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad to have you on. This is a kind of a super group. I mean, it feels like the word super group. There's so many bands now, artists
I
that get
can't
together.
stand. I really hate that term.
I
You
know
know,
it's
it's
hard,
like
but it's like if you're a super group and hair metal and this and
super
that. All kind of.
meaning what? Is the music super? Are the people super? Or
I
the
think
pet?
I think both. I think it's super group is because it's like well-known artists. Maybe it's too much to say. It's a
I
group
think
of
it's
well-known
just like
artists plus a band.
it's an industry thing to try to
Yeah.
pull together resources from the past bands. That's all it
But
really is.
but it is a bunch of artists that are from a genre that we all like. I mean, all the
Yeah.
bands that you guys have been in, I'm a fan of. So I mean, it makes sense that this is going to be something that me and other
Yeah.
fans are going to enjoy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but let's talk about the band, the album. So the albums, you have a couple of videos out. What is the goal with this band now? Because a lot of bands have a lot of different projects going on. You know, all you guys have lots of going on. So
Yeah.
how are we going to balance this and be a productive uh, band? 'Cause this is a full band.
Since when is rock and roll balanced in the first place?
I mean, be able to play
The
out
very essence
a
of it is to be
record.
out of balance. I mean, you know, the goals have evolved over time. The first initial goal of this band was to make one song in the studio for fun, you
Yeah,
know, and then it turned into, oh, that was great, let's do an EP. Then it turned into, oh, that was great, let's do an LP. You know, let's make videos. And then, you know, obviously the ultimate goal is to actually play live and
right,
become a real band, you
right.
know. So that's
Grow
that's
up.
that's that's the next goal. And, you know, so you had to get a
Okay.
window of time between, you know, Johnny and Kirk's very busy schedule and get this band on the road, at least playing some great festivals and stuff. That would be amazing, awesome. And take it from there. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel like the music has evolved, and with the short amount of time we spent in the studio together, and I would love to see it evolve into a second record.
I think so. And I think it should become a band that continues to
Yeah.
go on, even if you have to find pockets of time to balance it out.
Well, it's
Because
worked that way so far. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I mean, it's much more than a one-off project sound. I mean, you guys have an evolving sound like right out of the gate.
yeah,
Like you guys have
yeah,
been working for years at it.
yeah,
You know, the continuity that you guys have that a lot of bands don't have out of the gate, and it's probably because of your past histories. You know,
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm surrounded with guys that, you know, are well versed and have written and been involved in many records. You know, even down to Vinny LaBella and Dwayne Simino in the studio at OCD Productions, and there's me, Kirk,
yeah.
you know, there's Johnny, and there's Todd, and I mean, we've all been through this process so many times. So it made definitely the cohesion was a lot easier. You know what I mean? And building a song from basic tracks up.
What are you doing for coming in for the songs? What's the songwriting process for you guys? Because this has been you with riffs. Like, what are you doing for songwriting? The
Um,
process of writing it.
like all songs start, especially rock songs, with a riff and an idea, you know, and then I'll develop. Usually, like the way I develop riffs is a little different than the way Windstein does and the way Todd does. You know, they develop riffs and they just go with it and they worry about the vocals later on. I am not that kind of guy. I have to have a great melody line to go along with the riff,
Okay.
or I won't move forward with it. So that's how I work. You know what I mean? I'll come down with a riff verse with the vocals and maybe even a chorus, and then
Hmm.
we complete the song together from there, whether it's bridge, outro, wherever the hell it goes. You know. So and then like a lot of times, well, we need a double time part. We need a new riff, and then we'll just look at Winstein and he'll blast one right out. You know. So it's very fertile ground. You know, working with these guys. So there's never an absence of ideas or directions to go in.
Well, that's more of the question because I think there's a lot of ideas. I mean, Kirk has a billion different bands, and he's shown his flexibility in different types of music too. You know, and Johnny, everyone. So all you guys have different projects, but like the sound you guys have though, that's what I'm like coming up with that. Is it almost like a certain guitarist you write with also? Because the way it's layered is pretty cool. You have a really great sound. And is it just like you just take any guitar, you're riffing it, and then you're finding the effects or the tone rather?
Yes. Well, I have my vision for the guitar work especially was not to have this one guitar tone throughout the record. I wanted many different flavors and many different colors, like more of like a Jimmy Page-esque type
Feels
thing,
kind of Pink Floyd to me. Not
Yeah,
Pink
a
Floyd
lot of
sound,
yes, like Pink Floyd
but
as well. Yeah.
it does feel like the instruments are and the guitars have so many different moods and flavors, like a paintbrush colors. That's what I'm like with songwriting. How we get into there because you got a lot of different sounds going on, and where you're starting from.
Well, you start from the root riff, right? And then, well,
Yeah.
this needs something, you know what I mean? And then some of it's accident. You're screwing around while the riff is playing in the back. Oh
Hmm.
shit. And a lot of it's purposely done. Like,
Yep.
you have a good solid riff for the verse and a vocal line, and then the chorus. And then you come back to the verse the second time. You need something new. You want to add something new, and Winston calls that a sweetie. So I might look at Winston. So you got to come up with an alternate guitar line for this, second verse. And he'll
Yeah.
work on. So we'll work on it together. And that's how we built it in a room together. So I
That's
mean,
so
it kind of
cool.
like the song calls for what it needs as it goes
Yeah.
along.
It is. It's just. It's very different sounding. I mean, if people first listen to it who haven't heard it, I encourage you to check it out. It might just sound like a certain type of music, from the genre, but you really got to put your headphones on and listen to it. There's a lot of layers in it,
Yeah,
and
there
you're gonna
is.
have to listen to it a few times. It's not what you just hear in your car radio
Yeah.
cranking. You know what I mean? There's much more to it. Um,
And
there's a lot
much
of
more to it
dynamics.
too, internally too, because if you was to sit down
Yeah.
and figure out the songs, like you'll realize that going from 4/4 timing to 3/4 timing, and sometimes speeding up on a
Yeah.
bridge. So it's a lot. There's a lot more behind it that you're not hearing. It just sounds seamless.
And then the lyrics, you got some great lyrics in there too. I mean, the whole thing and the vocal tone you're singing, the way you're singing it, you know, it's really like mood provoking. You know,
We're all moody guys.
you are well the name of the group, Sun Don't Shine. What was the name? Where'd that come from? Was that just? I bet you guys were
Well,
just busting on each other, or some kind of joke or something. We gotta need a name.
it's a lot more simplistic than that. The original name of the band was I Am, and Andrew Spalding, the guy who brought us together in the room in the first place, used
Yeah.
that as a working title for the name of the band. Well, we're only going to have one song, and we just, we weren't going to be a band really. And
Hmm.
then when it came time to like, where we really wanted to be a band, there was already like two bands with that name, and one of them even had trademarks, so we couldn't use that name.
Oh
So we
yeah.
need a new name. We need a new name. So I threw a bunch of ideas out there. All the guys threw a bunch of ideas out there, and that comes from Hole in the Sky from Black Sabbath.
Yep.
I'm living easy where the sun doesn't shine. So I just put Sun Don't Shine as one of, and Kirk loved it. He was like, I want to go with that. It reminds me of Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs. I said, there you go. That was one of the lines of Bridge of Sighs. So it's kind of a
No,
bluesy reference.
it is, and it has a sound like you like. It could be any type of music too. You really,
Yeah.
he doesn't really label the band into a certain sound.
Mhm.
And I think you guys have a sound where you guys can go on the next album. You can do acoustic. I feel like you guys can go a lot of different places more with it without being locked into a sound. If you
That
guys
was
go to.
intentional. That was definitely intentional. We didn't want to I mean, when we sat down, we thought about it. We didn't think about the first song. We just went down with some riffs. But then afterwards, when we got down, we were like, well, let's do something different than our prospective bands, our past bands and stuff,
Yeah.
just not just throw the same Black Sabbath riffs together, but make it a little more expansive and give it a little more openness where it can go anywhere. So it's really what was intentional about it.
Well, I mean, it is very, very different from what you used to sound like too from your other band. From type. It is a different sound. It's
Yeah,
heavy, but it's totally different. Like,
yeah. But there
you
are
know,
typo influences in there. There are.
oh yeah,
There
yeah, yeah. But
definitely
it's
are.
not.
Yeah,
It's not. telling people it's not typo. It's its
yeah.
own band.
No, no.
There's definitely you get your own sound, and obviously you're the voice now of it, and it is kind of strange. Like as an artist, you guys are always when you're younger, you're trying to get a record deal or signed or whatever. Now
Yeah.
you guys are at a point where you guys just like do a song and next thing you have an album. Like you're like, oh, I didn't plan on having a band together and an album deal. Like it's like
It's
you
a
know,
different world. It's a different world we work in now. you know, it was a lot harder to get an album deal back then. Now it's, a lot of it's self-promoted and self done.
is there a chance that of dates just coming up this year at all for you guys?
There are, yes. We're working
Okay,
on a possible window of time where we can get together
excellent.
and play. Absolutely play live.
Okay, is it gonna be where can people find it? That when it's updated and announced.
Well, it'll be announced all
Oh,
over our
really?
social
Socials.
media. Yeah, all over our social media. So when we find a window of time, we got to get that window of time, make it first.
Well, that's probably not pushing through time. I'm just kind of curious if actually if the works are there, if you guys are
Yes,
actually
they
trying.
are. Yes, the offers are there. It's just a matter of finding a window of time where we're all available, and we get the rehearsal time in, which is whatever, 4 or 5 days, and then bang out some shows.
Because I mean, Johnny's with Quiet Riot, right? Still, so
Hmm.
and they do like
Yeah,
every weekend for like
every weekend.
ever.
Yeah.
I've probably seen him play a bunch of times in that band. They're always playing with somebody out, and then I think Crowbar's on tour right now. I think right.
Yes.
So it's like
With I Hate God, yeah, and they're doing great,
yeah.
selling out everywhere, doing fantastic. So
So I mean, it's just timing for you.
yeah,
Um, so I'm trying to thought. Oh, do you have a date coming up for a live thing? You guys for promotion?
yeah,
There we go. Yeah, April. Okay, there you go. April 13th, Talk Shop Live. You're
yeah,
doing a live thing where it's promoting the music and there's some events and offers, and I imagine that
yeah,
will be promoted also. But that's
yeah.
coming
I
up
know.
real soon.
I never watched the show or the format, but maybe I should check it out
I don't
before I'm
think I've ever
launched
heard of
into it.
it.
Yeah.
I'll check it out too.
Some pretty big names have done it. So
Yeah. Well, it sounds pretty good. It's good experience for the fans being interactive. That's you know
yeah,
that's the right for that, and doing different editions and special editions and doing vinyl, which is what we all love, especially
yeah.
this genre of people. We're all enjoying that. Are you using
The
a certain
collector's
guitar?
thing.
It is a collector's thing. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I think a lot of I still love my old records, not just collecting them.
yeah.
I kind of
Uh-huh.
enjoyed when it went down for a little bit because I could buy all the records I wanted cheaper, and then when
Hmm.
it got cool again, I was like, ah. Oh. Now it's like twice the price. It's like gas price going up on me. I'm like, come on. My collection was getting really great. You're scooping them up for great prices.
Hmm.
Um, I only got a couple left in my Yes collection I haven't filled yet. Um, as far as guitar sound for you, are you what are you playing for your guitar? What's your setup?
For this record,
Yeah,
it was pretty vast. I mean, I have my Mesa Boogie Duo and
yeah.
a brand new full pedal I designed, which is like, I don't know, it's got like 8 or 9 different effects in it.
Oh wow.
So that's how I get all the different voicings, And
Okay,
then guitar wise, it's very complicated. I mean, there was all different tunings for every one of the songs I drove the guys kind of crazy.
that's gonna be easy for live too.
Well, I think we could break it down to 2 tunings and get away
Yeah,
with it
yeah.
live, maybe. So, we'll see. But I used because I was going for different tones throughout the album. I
Right.
used all different guitars. I use my solo six for a lot of the tuned down heavy stuff, like the
Hmm.
B stuff, like for Power to Live, that's all solo six. But then, like for coming down, for example, I believe I use my Les Paul Black Beauty. It's because that's
Hmm.
tuned to C. No, it's tuned to D, a drop D, I believe. And then I use my ES 335 for the solo, the bluesy solo in the middle. So I picked and chose guitars where it was appropriate. And I also use my ES 335, or I use a Schecter
Okay.
semi hollow body for the bridge to When It's Time to Leave. That really grungy. So there's mainly those 3 guitars throughout the record.
Okay. Because it does get kind of hard once you start layering and putting tones and effects and stuff. It's hard to tell what the guitars are anymore. There was a
Yeah,
point in time where it's easy to guess what kind of guitar was being played when it was different sounds. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm like this. I have
it's
no idea listening to the
yeah.
sounds. I'm like, I couldn't even guess,
Some of the sounds are drastically different than the others, and you would be like, "Oh, there's got to be something different."
which is kind of cool.
But we're also layering. So right, and me and Windstein are also layering together. He uses Les Paul a lot, and I use his Les Paul for certain stuff too. I would grab it. Oh, this guitar sounds good here. You know what I mean? So there was whatever was available and good at the time and appropriate.
Yeah.
And then I was very picky and choosy. I did a lot of some of my guitar tracks were done here in my studio
Hmm.
back in at home. So I would have the time to pick and choose the right tone for the right guitar. And different guitars and different sounds inspire me differently. So I'm going to write differently, and that's an important part of it to keep it interesting to the ear, I think.
My always my guitar nerd question is what gauge of strings are you using? I always like to know that because everyone's are so different.
I'm using 54s to 11s on my tuned down solo six.
Okay.
So I go for the lighter string tuned down thing. Most
Yeah.
people can use 56s where I'm tuned. I find it's too bassy and I'm looking for a heavy, deep sound, but not overly bassy.
Right.
So that's what I use for my tuned down stuff. And the other gauges I'm using, regular slinky, whatever that's called, for my
Hmm.
my ES-335 and my Les Paul.
It's always amazing how some artists. I always ask this because some artists use the lightest, thinnest strings. They're the
Yeah.
heaviest artists, or they use the thickest strings. They're like a pop band. I'm like, what are you using it for? How are you even strumming that? Like, it's always amazing the different strings that people choose.
Well, it's like it's all about your style. I mean, if you're going to use strings that fat, you ain't bending much unless you're really
No,
tuned to like A or whatever.
we get the strongest fingers in the world.
Yeah, I'm a bender, and so is Windstein. So, whatever we do has to be applicable. Bending has to be applicable. So, well, like I said, sonically, I find the lower tuning with a lighter gauge string, a slightly lighter 54 is better. It's more, it still lands it's heavy and deep, but it lands the guitar as a mid-range instrument still to some effect. You know what I mean? So the mix works better for me anyway.
So I want to encourage people. This album is really good. I've enjoyed it. I've listened to it. It's out. Check out the Talk Shop Live event coming up. Follow them on the socials. Get the album. One last question though. What else are you doing on besides this band between this time? Do you
Two
have stuff
things.
going on?
Yeah, right now we're compiling and mixing a live record for Typo
Oh
from a
wow.
show back in the 90s. And also my other band, Silvertune, we're wrapping up our tracks and we're going to be submitting them to the label very soon. So I'm going to be putting out another record this year with that band.
You're a busy man.
Yeah, I try to stay
Two al-
busy. I mean, I
two
love
albums
this.
and a live album.
This is what I love doing. So the more I can do it, the better I feel.
Are you heading off all your production too? So you're pretty much in the producer's chair a lot now.
Um, yeah, for the most part, yeah, I have a lot to do with I mean, I've really grown into the art of it, because out of necessity. I mean, albums just aren't made the way they used to be made, where you
Right.
hire a producer and give them points and all this bullshit, because that shit doesn't exist anymore. So you got to really start learning how to do your own shit. So I've jumped head first in. I built a studio for myself, and I really, surprisingly, really love it. And for most of my career, I just ignored it. And now that I was forced to deal with it, I've it's become an obsession for me.
I went to school for it, so it's such a thing where you can get lost into it. I know a lot of artists will start doing it, and they're like, you know what, I'm done being on the road. I'm done being an artist. I just want to produce, like, because it's such a great creative force, and you can go home and
It
sleep at night,
is.
and then you can come back and create all day long and have all kinds of, you're always
Yeah.
creating and have all these tools there, and then you can have dinner and and
Uh,
sleep and family and be
a-
creative.
a- and it doesn't have all the pizzazz behind it. People don't really know what producers do, the average
Yeah,
public or whatever. But who cares? It's fun as hell, man.
it is
I mean,
fun. It's a lot of work though too. I mean, a lot of
yes,
creativity. It's a lot of rabbit hole stuff to find the picky uni stuff, and then
a lot of decisions. Yeah,
you could be building it for 3 weeks, and then something could happen. They're like, nope, don't like it. All you got 3 weeks worth of work that's gone because it's
yeah.
not going to work, and you just got to kind of like pull yourself up and get past
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if I could ever deal with the capacity of actually doing it for a living and working for other bands and trying
Right.
to please them and all that shit. You know what I mean? I'm doing it for my own, with my own creative vision in mind. So it's a little easier arguing with my bandmates than, hitting the wall with, somebody who's paying me.
Right.
Yeah.
Or after they leave the room, you can just kind of turn it down. Well, actually, they don't want faders anymore. You can just kind of adjust it. See, it's good, right? They leave, just turn it down. I don't know
Yeah,
what happened. It got lost in the mix. Well,
yeah. I mean, and you got to deal with people, artists and stuff that don't know what they want or are
right.
just terrible at what they do.
Find their sound, and they like to be pushed up in the
Yeah,
mix
you have
and
to
how
be a
it's not going to bounce.
psychiatrist. I mean, you have to be a psychiatrist to be a producer at that level.
It's like being it's like being a bartender.
Yeah,
You got to read the people and work them and do your job well and make everybody happy.
yeah.
And then being your own client too, because you're also writing your own music. It's
It
a
really
challenge.
is. It really is a special job, special position, and people who did it well, like Bob Ezrin. I mean,
Hmm.
my hats off to them.
It's also the people that do the mixing at the end to the masters.
Yes,
That's a skill that nobody understands. It is so much.
that's a skill.
The
Getting
talent is like
drums,
ridiculous.
getting the compression right, getting the drums right, getting everything to meld together.
So it sounds good on a cassette and a record and in your car and in your earbuds. I mean,
Man,
it's
you don't get records like that anymore that sound good on a
no, but
cassette
I'm
or
saying
on
that
or
was
on
the
a
old days. Though.
Bluetooth.
That skill.
Old
That no,
days,
I'm
yeah.
saying
Old
that's the
days, you
thing.
had
That
three
skill is
the three
lost.
different masters, right? You had three different
Right.
masters. You had one for vinyl, you had one for radio, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just, everybody's
Compressed
throwing out.
off the
I was
top.
throwing out this brick wall, maxed out
Yep.
fucking master, and everybody gets that. And you listen to it on a single like Bluetooth speaker, and the speaker's fault now. And not
Yeah,
to mention that people are listening to stuff on that. It's not even stereo anymore. It's like we're going backwards in time.
yeah. It is a weird stereo, and then also which is the surround sound stuff they're doing too is that's not even true. The version they're doing because they're not doing it from the
No,
originals.
yeah.
They're doing it like you know what I'm saying. They're doing it like
I haven't
not
heard
from the
any of it,
originals.
but yeah,
Some of them are doing it from the originals, but if you're not recording from the originals, and you're not doing the surround sound, and spatially, it's still
yeah,
not going to sound the same if you're making it artificial. It's still
right,
kind of weird.
right.
You know, if you know what you're looking for, it's very weird,
Uh-huh.
and it's such an odd thing for production. But
It's
production,
it's
this
a
album's good. You know,
it's a weird it's
it
a
is weird.
it's a weird place that production's in now. Period. You know, especially for rock.
And I want to give you the plus also the drums on this one. I love live drums. I mean, obviously everything else guitar sound good, but I
It's
want to give
rare,
an
right?
extra. I want to
It's,
give an extra plug for live drum sound because it is rare. I mean,
yeah.
we talked about the guitars and the vocals, everything's done well, but I mean, let's talk about the drums for a minute. It's got a good live sound.
Well, yeah. That's Dwayne Simon of OCD Productions. He's great, and
Let them
he
know.
loves his fucking drums. You know, and just like any really good producer or engineer, man, they got a whole fixation on drums. So he's got his way of miking it, setting it up, and he's good at what
But
he does,
it's
man.
good. You know, I don't
Yeah.
want. I mean, people can do all the recording they want, vocals and guitars and rooms and bedrooms and bathrooms. Better do some live drums. I do. That's
But
all I
that's
ask.
rare. I mean, on every, especially metal, it's all fucking sound replacement
Yeah.
drums now. All of it is. And now it's like it's sort of become like steroids in the fitness industry. You know, if you don't use it, you can't compete. You know what I
No,
mean? I mean,
I'm laughing because it's true. Actually,
yeah, you know.
you know, it is that way. That's funny. But yeah, when I was listening to it, I was like, man, these drums are killer. And it just stands out so much because you don't hear it anymore.
They are. They're great.
You know,
Yeah, I love
it's
the way I love the job they did. Yeah.
and it gives him if there's one drummer you're going to give the props to also to hear him live, that's the drummer you want to be hearing live too. You know, you want to hear him
Hmm.
rocking out live. That's what he does. So, you know, I want to thank you for coming on. You got a lot going on. I want to
Thank
check
you.
out the new album. We're going to look for the typo because I'm obviously a fan of typo. Are you producing it with someone else or what's production on that?
No, I have we have a producer right now working on it, and I'm working
Yeah.
on some of the like bringing out the guitar tracks and getting Peter's bass right because there was some technical issues when the show was recorded, you know, where things were muted when they shouldn't have been, and the shit like that. I know what the band should sound like, you know, so I'm just helping out.
In fact, there's stuff you can use because the way stuff is recorded and not thought about in the past, being able to recover anything is incredible nowadays. So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
we're gonna make it
it's
sound great.
I don't have any doubt about that. I think it's overdue to have some stuff out, and you know, that's a legacy
Well,
that
it's a trip for me. It's a trip down like it's like I'm being transported in the time machine back to the past because I'm listening to these performances and I'm like, oh my God. I
does it
know
feel
that
like you're like a different person, like it was a different time of your life? Because it's been such a time limit now.
no, it feels like that right now. But when if I got the headphones on, right, and I'm trying to
Right.
play along for it, I'm just for fun trying to play along for it. I feel like I'm right back there again, and nothing's changed. You know,
That's kind of
like,
awesome, actually. That's
like
very special.
I can tell when Johnny's keeping hi hat count, and it speeds up a little, and he's reaching down for a cigarette or a beer. You know, like, and it's like I'm there. I'm like there again. It's weird and
That's
cool.
great. That's really great. Cool. All right, man. Thank you for being on
Thank
the
you.
show. We'll have to chat again. People, check out the music and see him on the road. Hopefully soon. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, buddy.
You take care, man. Bye.